What's up, fam? How you all doing out there in the interweb land? It is Fam Matters. Yes, Faith and Mess. I am your unofficial yet absolutely official host, Emmett Young, and we have with us Dr. Jessica Young Brown.
Hey y'all, as you
You
can
like the
see,
intro?
he's
You like
doing
that?
the most already.
You like that? You like
You
it's been a
all,
while. Yeah, it's
you
been a
all
while.
may have
It's
noticed
been a
that
while.
we
That's why
haven't.
I'm doing the most. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's been
Yes.
a little while. You could say that we were on hiatus,
We
but
were on hiatus. Mhm.
basically,
I'm sorry. You
we're
better tell the
trifling.
truth. You better tell the truth, though. I need you to tell the truth. You
What
need
is
to
the
tell the
truth,
truth.
Emmett?
And the
Please
truth, the
tell the
truth
people what
is,
is the truth.
the truth is that you are trifling, and
Me?
I am. I
I
am.
was about
But,
to say.
but, but I was trifling first, but you were trifling longer.
I was no, here's what it is.
You
And
were
this is
trifling
how
longer.
y'all, this
Yes.
is how
Yes.
people
It's
do. I
true.
won't say the word I really want to say. People do this.
Eggs,
They
eggs,
Iggas be
eggs,
igging, okay?
eggs be egging. I
Let me
mean, come
tell y'all
on.
how iggas be. Iggas be acting any kind of way, and then they expect you to just keep on asking them and asking them. So here's what really happened. Since he want to talk about me, I would
And then I'm going to tell you all the truth. Go ahead.
I would text him and be like, "Hey, are we recording today?" He'd be like, "Oh no, I have a meeting. I got to do this. I got to do that. This is something to get it bibbity bobbity boot." Right? So finally,
Little violent
I
time.
stopped asking because Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over
Oh,
again
you
and
just you
expecting a different response.
you
So
just have
then when
to.
I stopped asking, he got in his feelings like I did something to him.
But you just have to try to put out there. You're so smart. You're quoting Alfred Einstein,
Niggas be
and
egging y'all.
I mean, just I mean, when you have things to do, you have things to do. But then some people are just so super busy they can't even call you to see how you're doing. I mean,
I knew you were
it's
fine.
amazing. It's just amazing that this happens. It
I
really
knew you
is.
were fine.
So we can do this though because some way somehow we still haven't figured it out yet that we're twins.
Correct.
Even though I'm older than she is,
By
we
many,
share the
many
same
years.
womb, some way, somehow. So
Even
we
though
can
we have
do
two
this.
different moms and
You
two
know,
different
we we
dads.
we, we do this because we're like twins. We're the Wonder Twins, right?
Correct.
All right. So we're gonna get past all of that. All right. You trifling, I'm trifling. The people that listen to this podcast and watching it are trifling. Let's
Which is
just
why
put it
they
all
like
out
it.
there.
Yeah. I
Which is
mean,
why they like it.
there's no good
Speak,
reason for y'all to listen to this podcast except that y'all are niggas like us. And so
Speaking of which, don't forget, don't forget to go to the YouTube channel to make sure that you smash the like button on this video. I mean, like Hulk smash it. Just kill it, right? And share it. Share. We're at fammatterspod at gmail.com on YouTube, Fan Matters Pod. All right, that's our
and
channel.
on IG, Fan
And
Matters
on
Pod.
IG, Fame Matters Pod. So that's how you can check us all out. Show us some love. Thank you for our family members that have shown us some
Correct.
love. For
Fan
anybody else
Matters.
out there that wants to show us some love, we
Other
appreciate
people do
that.
listen to this podcast. I was talking to someone earlier today and she was like, "Have y'all recorded? Because I went looking for a new episode and I couldn't find it." And I was like, "Girl, life be life. And no, we haven't, but we gonna record today."
I mean, hey, is that
Ooh.
is that the person I know?
No,
Was
this
that
is
who
the
that
person that
was?
you don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, all right, cool.
The
That's
person I
awesome.
know. We
Yeah.
know a lot of the same people. That was
We do
not
know a lot
enough
of the same
information.
people, but I think you know who I'm talking about. I think you know who I'm talking about. Yeah,
Oh,
you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So
all right. We'll have that conversation later. So,
offline. Hey, it's been a minute, right? So
yeah,
we're
we
tripping out just on each other. So I don't even care that
Can
you
I
might
tell
not want
y'all
to,
something that he told me?
So
This is how your siblings really be trying to come for you on the slide. Let me tell y'all what he told me the other day. He told me that he's holding our relationship together with
mm-hmm.
spit and
Spit
glue.
and glue. Spit and glue. I'm literally holding our relationship together with spit and glue. Literally.
Isn't
Because
that
I'm the
ridiculous?
only one invested in our relationship right now. I'm the only one.
Oh
Like, she doesn't
wow.
call me. I don't
I
she
don't
don't pay,
call anyone.
I
I
don't
do
see
not
my
call
niece or
anyone.
my
Listen,
nephew. I don't
listen,
see
listen.
them. So I'm upset.
You are
I'm
not
like
gonna
literally
slander me
upset.
on this here podcast. Any of the people who know me in real life
like
will tell
mud
you
that
I don't
Jesus,
call anyone.
like
This is not
Jesus
a
picked
statement
up the
about our
mud.
relationship.
He picked up the mud. He was like, "Hutua,"
You
and
are
he did
not
it like that.
Jesus.
And
Ew,
Jesus,
you remember
and
when Mike Todd did that
yeah.
illustration where he spit in his hand and then put it
Oh,
on
that
the
was disgusting. That was. I would have never ever like.
Listen, I
No,
would have
first of
never
all,
gone back to
that
that
couldn't have
church
been a
again.
surprise, right? The guy had to know he was doing that, right? He
Which
had to know he
raises
was
other
doing it.
questions because why would he say yes?
It does. It does. It does.
Holy
But
cow,
he had to know
baby.
because anybody else would
Would have
have been
punched him.
like, would have punched
It
him.
would have been
Would have been
violence.
like, don't
Yeah,
you ever do that again.
it would
There
have
are
been
two
violence.
things. There are two things that really that men consider like the ultimate disrespect. There's a lot of things you can say to a man, especially a black man, and this is fighting words, right? But there are
Correct.
two things. There are two things you cannot do that literally a person like myself will kill you for if you do this. Like
Correct.
we don't even care. Number one is slapping me. If you don't not a fist. If you slap me, it's on. But if you spit on me, that's a whole nother level. It's a
Correct.
whole nother level.
Yeah, it
We
was
are
disgusting.
past fighting. Somebody has to die.
Somebody gotta pay.
Literally, somebody's gotta die.
Somebody gotta pay.
Somebody got to pay, and somebody's going to jail. That's just what it is, and it's not going to be me. I'm not going to die. If you spit on me, I'm going to jail.
You get all these hands. Yeah, you get all these hands.
You get more than hands. That's it. Period. That's it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going away till November. I'm out.
I'm going away.
Several Novembers. I'm gone. I'm gone.
Oh, that is not even what we're talking about today. But
well, what are we talking about?
We
and please
are talking
enlighten
about
us, the illustrious Dr. Brown.
Okay. So we are talking about people saying stupid things in church.
Okay. All right.
Our dear friend, the one and only Jackie Hill Perry, has been making the rounds on the interwebs because of something she said about certain things being demonic. If you are unfamiliar with Jackie Hill Perry, she is the same woman who wrote a whole book about the fact that she is a lesbian but has decided not to give in to those fleshly feelings and is currently married to a man and has children with him.
Those are some interesting conversations, but
aren't they? But that's not even really the focus of this. I just wanted to give you some context. And so we're going to try something new, which we'll see how this goes. We're going to try to share a clip of her saying what she said, and then we'll talk about it.
Somebody say hallelujah for new things.
My God.
New things.
This is what happens when we take a 3-month hiatus and don't record. We try to come back with a bang.
And here's the thing. Let us let you know this now. We just practiced it once.
So this is not something we could go wrong.
We didn't even know it was going to work.
We're not sure, but we're recording, so we're going to see. Okay. Ooh. All right.
Be black. You are not more black by engaging in witchcraft. That is still propagating a white supremacist lie that black people in Africa didn't know Jesus. I am angry that the powers that be in social media and in culture,
do something different here.
Music, and in Beyonce's music, and in Kalani's music, and in whatever the other, and in Santa, like I'm angry that they are really trying to convince us that all spiritualism is the same. And we have digested this impurity and this, we want so bad not to be legalistic.
Let's go ahead
that
and take this down. It's doing so much. I don't know if it's the internet connection. It was doing the most. It was just I couldn't hear it. It was going in and out, buffering and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get any of that on my end.
So we're going to do better. Well, of course. Guess what, guys? Once again, we gave you the disclaimer. All right, we gave you the disclaimer. We are not professionals. That's clear, and we just tried this, so we're going to perfect that and get back to it. Now, let's discuss the what she was saying and the bulk of what she's saying, because I really don't know who this person is, and because of the first time I've seen this clip, I'm going to give it over to you, Dr. Brown.
Oh my
to,
gosh, this is
to
a hot
continue what
mess.
she was saying.
Oh, sorry. So I'm gonna read the caption on the video because maybe that'll give some more context. Quote, and this is her video that she posted. Quote, when you enter the land of the Lord your God is giving you, do not imitate the detestable customs of those nations. No one among you is to sacrifice his son or daughter in the fire, practice divination, tell fortunes, interpret omens, practice sorcery, cast spells, consult a medium or spiritualist, or inquire of the dead. Everyone who does these acts is detestable to the Lord, and the Lord your God is driving out the nations before you because of these detestable acts. You must be blameless before the Lord your God, though these nations are about to drive out, yada yada, bibbity boop, Deuteronomy 18, 9 through 14. There are a couple of other
Yada yada, bibbity boop.
There are a couple of other scriptural references. So basically, the argument she's making is that she's basically saying people who connect with and practice African traditional religious experiences are engaging in the demonic. She goes on to call Beyonce and Kehlani demonic.
I know she's demonic, but she's fine. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You are an nigga. So so basically let me say this. We've talked about this before. I have a very carefully curated social media space. So all the people that I follow on social media are going in on her. And the argument is, so she's essentially saying that African traditional religions are witchcraft and demonic. And people are saying that's a white supremacist envisioning and understanding of Christianity. There were also, and you would be better equipped to say this as the person who's seminary trained, but people were practicing Christianity in Africa predating slavery, right? So this whole idea that, anyway, so people are basically going in on her for being a white supremacist, which, I mean, there's lots to say there. And I think especially coupled with the whole way that she became someone that a lot of people know is, I would argue, a really oppressive theological stance around the only way I can be honorable to God is to deny the fact that I'm gay.
So you're saying that, okay, that statement, or just the way she's living out her life, but she said that is really why she is or has the followers that she has.
Yes, absolutely.
That's clearly, because that's obviously
her
like
shtick.
It's right. It's stick, but it's it is a statement that grabs you. It is something that's like, wait a minute, especially within the time frame in which we live now. So that's her thing, right? That her thing is being known for being at one time openly gay, or being a lesbian.
The title of her first book is "Gay Girl, Good God."
Okay, all right. It's so much to unpack,
isn't there?
so, but when, I'm just trying to get it down. But now she says that she is actively oppressing those.
She wouldn't say
feelings.
she
What does she
wouldn't
say?
She wouldn't
What
use
does
that
she say?
language. She would
What does she
say
say?
that she still is attracted to women, but she doesn't act on that in any way, because
She's
to
been
be
saved.
attracted to women, to live that out would be a sin.
But she's been delivered, but she doesn't use that language either, though, right?
She would say she's not delivered from the attraction, she's delivered from the behavior.
Ah, okay. All right. First one I've ever heard say that. This is me. I'm ignorant of this kind of space in our society. I don't really know a
Well,
whole
I mean,
lot
I
of
think
people that say
also,
that. So yeah,
I mean, I think she's been able to, embody like a very even embody in, I was gonna say sell, but
well,
deliver a
let me
very
attack
evangelical theological frame.
let me attack just the notion of right the notion of ATR, African traditional religions, and the idea that because I hear people say it all the time. I hear young black people say it, and if I hear it, I stop them dead in their tracks, and I try not to say you're ignorant, but I do will say you don't know what you're talking about, because number one, Christianity is not in and of itself a white man's religion. That's
Right.
ridiculous, right?
Correct.
Christianity was started in the Levant region. That is a region of people of color, and
Come
it
on,
transitioned
seminary.
to Africa. It transitioned to Africa first, right? You're talking about the Coptic Church, and the idea of what we see as Christianity, or what should really be called evangelicalism, excuse me, is an absolutely westernized, bastardized form of Christianity, in which we black people find themselves and fighting against. So when you hear young black people, when you hear young folks say that, what they're really fighting against is the westernized view of Christianity, which is absolutely capitalistic, because it is this false Judeo-Christian, thing that we have. But anyway, so to even talk to begin to talk about spirituality in the lens of African tradition, you cannot, or let me put it this way, I will not allow conversation of othering to the religions that our ancestors grew with. And to understand that Christianity, or really the invisible institution practiced by those who were enslaved, was an
Yes.
absolute mixture
It was
of their
yes,
traditional religions
absolutely.
and what the slave masters tried to teach them. They made their own religion. Now, do we see shadows of this in our current society, in our current culture, in our current church culture? Absolutely, we do. And I think we're finding, kind of a break, from some of the more traditional westernized mores, that we have inherited, that have been passed down from generation to generation. But it's just ignorant. It's so many levels, just so many levels. I
And
mean,
here's how you know it's pure white supremacy, because you may know this. Incense is a part of many spiritual traditions in the Catholic Church. Nobody's calling that demonic. Y'all don't call a mortgage burning demonic.
you don't call that demonic. You're trying to get there. Yeah,
Right.
that ain't
So I
demonic.
think there's also like we can't separate this conversation around certain things as demonic. Even Jamal Bryant talking about if you burn the sage, it's demonic. Like, I think there's
But you want to
just
burn
something
weed, and that's cool. I'm
I think
sorry. Go
there's
ahead.
just something so anti-black about that particular lane of rhetoric.
Mm.
And it's become so normalized for us that we don't even see it. We don't even see it. Who was that? Was it Paula White calling on the African angels for
The
Donald
angels,
Trump
yeah,
while you
they're
are
coming.
preaching in a
They're coming.
style that you appropriated from black people? How
Yeah, yeah,
dare you? I
yeah.
think so. And here's the thing. So I think we have to like hold and recognize the critique that Christianity has been one of the pathways by which white supremacy has spread in the world.
Hmm.
But we also have a responsibility, to your point, to tell the story that that's not all of what Christianity is.
It's not. It's not. And how do I say this? I mean, younger people, younger generation, the millennials, I would say, some of the younger millennials, maybe even some of the older ones, and definitely Generation Z, have begun to found or create their own Christianity. that has looked back towards, if you are able, and it's hard for a lot of us to do this because it's just difficult to do, and maybe I just know my mistrust of ancestry.com and 23 in me, I ain't giving the government my DNA, but if you are able to somewhat track your lineage and track your heritage and are actually able to find the region from which you come from, or your people have come from, why wouldn't you investigate that? And people have. They've investigated spiritual practices, and say, okay, I'm not getting rid of Jesus. I still believe in Jesus, but I also am looking at the Yoruba tradition. I'm looking at the Igbos. I'm looking, at all these other traditions. And what does it mean? How do I articulate my faith in this world in which we live? And for me, period. All right, me personally, I just cannot operate in, once again, a white capitalistic Christianity, or maybe I should say westernized. I don't want to offend any of our white viewers or listeners, but the reality is I cannot participate in a westernized capitalistic Christianity knowing that there is a liberative aspect of the gospel that I have to be able to preach, but I have to understand it so I can know the liberative aspect of the gospel to preach against what we have seen and what has been taught. Right. So there are those engaging in that freedom. So here's the thing, real quick. So anybody that decides to deal with some of that and grab some of that tradition, now you're considered as demonic. I might call Beyonce demonic for other things, but not necessarily what she was talking about. Because it's just a sin to have a body like that. Nah, but for real though, why do we this whole conversation on things that are demonic? Now I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Some of that clip I kind of agree with, but I don't think not what you're thinking. I do believe that we have to be careful what we allow in our spirits. Yeah, I do believe that.
Me too. Me too. But I think so. The piece that's problematic for me is like, number one, I'm aware that there are Christians who would really disagree with me on this, like Christians that I probably maybe would agree with me on other things. I also think like there's something really problematic about us believing that seeking God in the like traditional Christian frame is the only way we can find God. Right? Like I think that's very limiting. If God is omniscient and omnipresent, then God only speaks to Christians. I just don't, that logic doesn't track for me. And so while
you get in trouble. You get in trouble.
But that's why I'm not a preacher, right? Like I don't have, while I am a Christian and identify as a practicing Christian, I do not believe that Christianity is the only path to God. Right. And so I think that especially in light of the fact that we have to be honest about the ways, not just white supremacist Christianity, but the church in general has hurt people. And to be frank, there's a lot of conversation about the fact that Black women in particular are exploring African traditional religions as a way to escape oppressive Black churches, right? And so I think it's even more violent to tell people that their way of seeking the divine is demonic when the pathway you're presenting is harmful to them.
So I think, I think a lot of our Black churches they may be Black in face, but they're white supremacist, in their, in their practice. So,
and even the churches that aren't white supremacists in practice can still be patriarchal and misogynistic.
They can be, so do you have two issues or two lanes that often will merge into one, and that is, the practices and the ideology that you're putting out from your particular Christian practice, and then you could just be trash on top of that, right? That takes it to a whole nother level. And what if, and then it's compounded when you are trash because this is what you're believing, and it has nothing to do with the gospel. So it's a lot of that. So you're right. I don't necessarily I don't disagree with somebody that would want to go outside, but that's what we've seen, Jess. That's what we see daily. Churches are now trying to get back to something that they knew, but they are not willing to deal with why these younger people have left, and the fact that if you're still, you can put up all the screens in the world, you can have all the events in the world, if you're not changing your practice, why come back? Why come back? Correct. Why come back? The language, if your language isn't inclusive, and not just your language though, your actual, once again, your practice, then why come back?
Right.
I mean, it's just, and even with the inclusivity piece, that's a whole nother show. I don't even want to get into that now. That's just like a whole nother show. Mm-hmm. I think you understand this, that part of that Black church practice in America that we've seen has been largely conservative, and is still largely conservative. And so, when we're talking about the LGBTQIA community, and actually creating safe space for them in our churches, it doesn't happen by and large. There's only a few places. Now, the good thing is that there are more places than there were 10 years ago, but still, once again, it's not a practice that you're going to find, across, church lines, even across denominational lines, in churches in America, and even here. I think, if you're talking about Africa, that's a whole nother issue, that of even conservatism that was brought on by the Christian, or the westernized Christianization of certain parts of
colonialism,
Africa, right?
Absolutely.
Colonialism. It just it's amazing. It really is amazing. I'm gonna tell you what I have respect for. I actually have respect for those pockets of our land, of our motherland, if you will, that remained Islamic, because they were like, bump this. We're rocking with Muhammad. And you will not get a foothold anywhere. It won't happen. It won't happen. Now, they may have their own issues with it, but they're like, hey, I don't care what you say.
Keep that.
Yeah. Back up out of here, so.
Yeah. And I mean, a part of Black culture is and has always been that we make things work for us, right? And even if you think about, like, outside of the context of things that are explicitly spiritual, right? There are practices that are ever present in the Black community that are not explicitly tied to Christianity, but become a part of the way we move through the world, right? Like all these traditions about things that need to happen on New Year's Day, or things that shouldn't happen on New Year's Day, right?
With weddings, yeah. That's
weddings.
That's those too. Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, there's certain, I would argue those are like values and spiritual beliefs that really stem from our African ancestry, even if we can't like label it as such, because that's what happens when you're ripped away from your cultural heritage. You don't see the connections, right? But speaking in tongues and shouting in church, like, right? So like, what's the line between what's demonic?
I have that, to me, that is probably the most tangible example, and just how we operate in church. That, it is still amazing to me. I got a chance to preach at when I was in Danville. Got a chance to preach at a friend's church. He was a white pastor, and we tried to just do work together and bring we brought our deacons together. Mm-hmm. I had all older Black men. He had white men and white women. Most were older too. So that dynamic was interesting to have the women, but we brought them together to just kind of begin this dialogue and all that kind of stuff. But I got a chance to preach at the church, right? And it was probably the quietest place I've ever been.
Right.
It just, and it. I'm not saying that there are not outliers, but by and large, this is, to me, the worship experience on Sunday mornings is the most tangible example of what you're talking about. It's just different, and knowing the history even of Baptist and Methodism, and knowing that there were fiery preaching,
Yes.
in the day, that is what attracted those who were enslaved, to being a Baptist or to being a Methodist. Of course, really we talk about Baptist, but when you see it in practice now, it's just like, where's the fire? what happened? And the idea, though, of that, of kind of the silk stocking churches and what they're supposed to be, that even went, kind of transferred down to Black folk. Because when you look at a lot of times in our country, when you see a First Baptist church, that's going to be a lot of times a silk stocking, kind of church experience, kind of worship experience. But we are going to give it our oomph. We're going to put something in there. So it's amazing. We got to stop the ignorance, Jess. How do we stop the ignorance?
People need to read books and go to school. I mean,
Oh God.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, here's the thing. I actually don't think we're going to stop the ignorance. I think people are always going to be ignorant. And I think that...
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask this question. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did want to ask you this, though, right? For her in particular, for this Perry lady, do you think, because I do you think that once you get your shtick, you just got to keep going? You just got to keep, you got to keep rocking with it. And I'm not saying that she doesn't necessarily believe that, but once you grab people's attention in this social space, you got to keep grabbing it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think she has been shepherded and supported by a particular brand of Christians that expect her to show up in a certain way.
She's got the tats. She's got the dreads. What was those braids? I don't remember. Braids with her dreads.
Yeah, she has locks.
Yeah, she got the locks. I keep saying dreads. I'm sorry, locks. Forgive me. She got the tat. Ignorance. the
ignorance will not stop.
It will not stop. It won't stop. The tats, the locks, and she's got the No, I want to talk about the husband. She's got there's a certain oomph that you have as a preacher. There's a certain, that swag, if you will, kind of, that you are rocking a mic, essentially,
she started, I mean, she's a spoken word artist, right? So she has
I
that.
didn't know that. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
I can't believe you didn't know who Jackie Hill
Perry was. I didn't. How many times are we going to have this conversation?
Yeah, you're right.
The older I get, I'm
Y'all, when we first started this podcast, y'all know the podcast is not that old. When we first started this podcast, he didn't know how to tag me in his posts on Facebook.
I didn't. And then you all discovered real time that I didn't know what the math. I hadn't heard the math.
The math ain't mathing.
I hadn't heard that. But once I did, y'all, I was like, the math ain't mathing on it. I was using it every conversation. That math ain't mathing.
We're not that many years apart, but sometimes the distance really shows.
When you when you have an active life, when you so I'm not making an excuse, right? You got life and you're raising kids, all that kind of stuff. You know this. You know it. Hold on. Just listen to what I'm saying. Listen. When you have that, and you are in my age range, not yours, because remember, you're a little younger. But with people that are my age, I give us about a 2-year stretch. We know how to use the internet and stuff, but we really don't necessarily want to all the time. So it's a pull for me to go on Facebook and Twitter. I know how to use it, know how to set it up, know all that. But we didn't grow up with that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like it's a pull
Yeah,
for
and
me.
Facebook became a thing my freshman year of college. Like I have a vivid memory of my suite mate coming down the hall and being like, "Have you heard of this website called the Facebook?" Right. So I did.
The Facebook,
It was
the
the
Facebook,
Facebook back in the day.
right,
Remember when you had to have
right.
a .edu email address to use Facebook? Do you remember that? You were
But
done with college by then, though.
I was done with college by then. I
Yeah.
was in seminary. So for those of you who remember this, and I guess the conversation is just about done with this whole thing. But for those of you who
Yeah.
remember,
This is dumb. That's all we have to say.
Black Planet was a thing. Facebook was a thing.
And
Facebook petered
MySpace.
out.
Don't forget MySpace.
Facebook kind of petered out a little bit, but then it came back strong. And now, because grandmothers using Facebook, young people don't use
They
Facebook.
absolutely hate Facebook.
They hate Facebook. My 13-year-old don't use no Facebook.
No.
No.
And they don't even, I think they're not even using Instagram anymore either. Like I think Instagram is for us old people too.
It's moving that way. Yeah. It's moving that way.
I don't know. I can't take on any more social media. So if something else comes out,
if you're a young influencer, you're going to use Instagram though.
But I'm not. Yeah. But I'm just saying, as for me in my house, if any new social networks come out, I'm unable.
I'm
moving into auntie status.
What's the after school moment here? The after school message moment is don't listen to the Miss Perry lady. Is that the message?
I think the message is to read books, first of all. Read books. And second of all, don't let other people tell you, how to navigate your relationship with God. I think we put a lot of unnecessary barriers on things as a form of control.
And stop tearing down people to build yourself up.
And stop being a white supremacist.
That's
especially Black people. Y'all got to do better.
That's a lot of stuff that we talked about. Hey, we're just getting back.
This is a rambling mess. This is what our brand.
This is
our brand. Is this? What?
That's why it's Faith and Mess.
Correct.
So what we didn't do was throughout the show give you our stuff, which is what we were supposed to do. fammatterspod@gmail.com. fammatterspod@gmail.com.
Why do y'all listen to this stupid podcast?
Look at some on YouTube. fammatterspod, IG fammatterspod, and maybe we need a Twitter too to tweet out our random thoughts. I don't know.
No, because who's going to be in charge of it? Not you.
Not me.
No.
No, I told you.
Our IG has 3 pictures on it. I've done all I can do. Okay, I'm doing the ticker. We got a email address, a YouTube, and an Instagram. That's all that we can do.
We're gonna get better.
Are we gonna get better?
We're possibly gonna get better.
Maybe.
Pray for us.
Please. Pray for those who know the words of prayer, call our name, because we're a mess.
Hallelujah. Hey, look. We gotta go. It's time to go. I don't know about you, Dr. Young Brown, but I have enjoyed this time. We are gonna do better. We are gonna do better. We're coming back, and we appreciate all of you who continue to show us love. So hit us up on those platforms: IG, Facebook, Lord Jesus, IG, Gmail, YouTube. And till the next time, this is Emmett Young saying peace.
Bye.